In this Writer's Access video, we'll be going over how to approve orders. So in our last couple of videos, we've talked about how to place orders, how to see where your order is after you've placed it. And now we're going to talk about what you do with orders that are pending approval. So when an order goes to pending approval, you want to pull it out pretty quickly. So when you pull out a Writer's Access order, and you want to send it to a client, you can really just copy and paste. So just copy and paste it into a Word doc or a Google Doc, whichever you prefer. And then you can send it to the client for review. If the client sends back revisions, great. You can request inline revisions in Writer's Access. So the way you do that is if it needs to still be in pending approval. So if it goes to approved, these orders will auto-approve after 14 days. So do keep that in mind. If it has auto-approved, you'll need to make the revisions yourself. But if it's still in pending approval and they have really specific revisions, and I would say this is really for major revisions. If it's just like a few wording changes or they want to remove a section, I wouldn't send that back in Writer's Access. I would let the writer know about it afterwards. But I wouldn't necessarily send it back for revisions. So if you do need to change something, you can do inline revisions by highlighting the section you want to revise and then giving specific notes. So you can say exactly what you want to change and why you want to change it. If it does need, and then once you do that, you can say request revisions. If you have done inline revisions, you could say see notes in the article, or you can give more detailed revisions here. If you like the article, you can still give them inline revisions and then send it for approval, or send it back and approve it. So you can do met. If it's a really great article, you can say exceeded my expectations. You can send them a note. I would recommend doing this for orders that were particularly difficult, or orders that you're particularly pleased with, or orders that you had to make a lot of revisions on your own for. There's a lot of reasons that you should send notes to writers. It's important to remember when you're using Writer's Access that these writers are actual people. It can be really easy to forget, and I'm totally guilty of this, that the writers in here are people, and they need to be treated as such. It's really easy to treat Writer's Access like this content machine that just spits out content, and it can feel very impersonal. So it's really important to keep in mind that the writers have thoughts and feelings and can benefit from positive and from negative feedback. So if you're going to send back some notes to your writers, and I would definitely recommend doing this. Give them some encouragement, tell them what you liked, if there was anything you didn't like or could be improved going forward. Since these people are on your writing teams, it's good to develop those relationships through these means of communication. So send them a note, tell them what you liked. You can here choose to add additional like an additional bonus to an order if you feel it's merited and if you've discussed it with your director. And then you just confirm the order, or you confirm the approval. You can copy this out again, or you can actually export this into different formats. So you can do a CS, or like a Word doc or a PDF, and then it's just all exported, and there it is. So do keep in mind that you can only do this after you've approved the order. So if you've pulled it out and it made any revisions, I wouldn't recommend doing this because you'll already have it saved somewhere. So that is how, really briefly, how you pull orders and review them. this is a kind of hard one to explain because each order is going to be different. Some orders may need very few revisions, and you just want to give a few encouraging notes to the writer so that you can continue to maintain that relationship. Some orders may require extensive revisions, and you'll want to do inline, pretty specific revisions. Another way that you can approve orders, if you have a lot of them and you want to approve them really quickly, I'm not going to approve these, but I'll just show you how you would do it. If I wanted to approve all of these orders, I could just click the check boxes and then say batch approved check orders, and it'll automatically approve any of the orders in that list. It will just do met expectations, so if you thought a writer did a particularly good job, it's a good idea to go into the order and send them a short note and give them an exceeds expectations rating. The writers really like getting those. It boosts their internal rankings, so do keep that in mind, that it's a good way to reward a writer. Um, so that is overall how you approve orders, and how you send back revisions. In our next video, we'll talk more about maintaining relationships with writers.